Good morning, students. Am I audible? Is my voice audible, guys? Okay, thank you. Fine. Last time uh, we have seen initially what are the challenges we need to face while implementation of the lexical analyzer. Uh, And then subsequently, we also saw that how to specify the language specifications here. So there is one way which we have discussed last time, that is the regular definitions. To be more generalized, this is the specification in the form of a regular definition, but somehow we are using the concept of regular expressions here. So just to avoid the redundancy, just to avoid the huge work, we are introducing this notion of the regular definitions where we are giving certain unique names to the regular expressions here. And we are using those unique names in the in the further designing of the regular expressions. So this is going to be your specifications. Let's assume like this. I mean, for any token set, and I mean, we saw for identifiers, and this is for the floating point constants, or you can say real numbers. So now we should say how to implement the lexical analyzer. So that we see today itself. So, but again, as I said, I mean, if someone wants to implement the lexical analyzer and you will say, oh, see, just pick up these specifications which you have written in the form of a regular definitions, that is not something which is complete with respect to with respect to what is actually required for implementation. So language specification written in the form of a regular definition is, it's is a prerequisite, but it's not that complete thing which is actually required for the regular definition. The for the implementation of the lexical analyzer. So, regular expressions are sufficient enough to describe the tokens itself. I mean, like we did earlier, we constructed few regular expressions and we transform into the regular definitions. So they are just, describing these tokens. All right. So, as I mentioned here, that they get failed most of the time to identify the appropriate token. And I'll say, to be most, appropriately, the language specifications or the regular definitions, they usually get failed in identifying the word separators or word boundaries. And I hope all of you now agree on this point as per our recent discussion. So word boundaries is a part of, the identification of the word boundaries is a part of the implementation, the manual implementation through your hands written in C code. So, and hence the lexical analyzer, if it may pass some invalid tokens to the subsequent translational phases of the compiler if they do not have something which we call enough intelligence for identifying the word boundaries. So regular languages or regular expressions or definitions, these are just specifications. Fine. So we need to deal certain implementation challenges, which we have described earlier as well. So we handle these implementation challenges using some different techniques. Yeah. Fine. So again, furthermore, let's be clear on it. So we have, as of now, we have just discussed that how to convert our specifications into the regular definition. So regular definition says that consider any string, this str and the corresponding regular expression r, right? So does that string belongs to the language produced by the this LR? I mean, such type of questions we long time back we have already answered in the course of the TOC. But compiler says, the lexical analyzer says, I do not need this much thing because I need to know, what exactly are the set of tokens I'm going to pass on to the subsequent phase of the lexical analyzer. And tokenization is an implementation issue. That's the thing that's the point which we are making here. So the response in the form of a yes or no, like we usually give in TOC, is not sufficient here because the goal is to partition the input stream into the precise set of tokens here. And tokenization is something which needs to be handled at the implementation level. The word boundaries, the priority orders, and whatnot, apart from the language specification. So here the point is that right now, assume we have the language specification, we have transformed those into the regular language, the regular expressions, and most of, in a very concise format of regular definition. But right now, we have to slightly deviate from the language specification and handle certain issues with respect to the implementation part. That is the goal here. So tokenization is not something which is going to be handled with the help of regular definitions. It is completely an implementation issue. Fine, students? So let's see now, what are the development steps for my any relevant tokenization here? What should be the order of the steps here? How I'm going to implement my lexical analyzer. So here, let's say the first thing is that at least give me the language specification. And as of now, we are going to look our language specification in the form of a regular definition here. So first step is construct the regular expressions for the XYZ lexemes of each token. And let's assume right now we are just taking one small specification, written in the form of a regular definition. And this problem we have already seen in the last section. So this is a specification for unsigned numbers, the floating point, the real number here. And let's see now how I'm going to, what exactly is the algorithm for the lexical analyzer? Because now I'm going to deviate from the language specification. So the second step here, as a part of tokenization, it says that you need to construct one R, this complete R, which is going to match all the lexemes of the token. So let's suppose in your language specification, you have multiple regular expressions or multiple regular definitions for different tokens here. So these R1, R2, R3, R4, R5 are the regular definitions for each of those tokens. Let's suppose R1 is for identifiers, R2 is for another keyword, R3 is for another keyword, and R4 is for, let's say, operators, R5 is for something else, and so on and so forth. And we have just, using this union operator, which we have seen in the TOC as well. So we are just looking at with this single R here. Now, one important thing here, that as I've mentioned here, that this sequence has to be in some well-defined precedence order here. Now, what does that mean? That first, the language specification, the regular definition of the identifier is coming, and let's suppose then the keywords is coming. Fine. So it is also following some well-defined order that in my language specification, while tokenization, I will first give the preference to the identifiers and then to the keywords, or it could be reverse. I will first give to the preference to the keywords and followed by identifiers. So we have to also give the precedence order as a part of implementation issue. Language specification is not going to tell this thing. So different language specifications have different precedence order. I think this is clear as a part of this step. So now the third step is that give me the input stream, which I'm supposed to tokenize here. So consider this is the input stream. In this S sub 1, S sub 2, up to some characters S sub n. So this is the goal I am going to tokenize. The input source language here. So what is my goal here? So what I will do, I'll pick a small sequence of the subset of this input stream, and I'll just identify whether this sequence, this part of the sequence is matching any of these RIs. That's my goal, right? So that's what exactly what we are going to see here, that for any I, which is greater than equal to 1 and it should be less than equal to n, I just need to verify whether this S1 to some Si belongs to any of these LRs or not. These RI, R2, R3, R4 or not. Fine, this is exactly the goal here. And as a part of fourth step, what does it mean? That if S1 to Si belongs to the language recognized by this R, which implies that S1 to Si belongs to some LR, this LR of X here, because it has to belong either this, or this, so on and so forth, for some X here. Fine. And this X can be 1, 2, 3, 4, fine. Anything. We don't know right now. And most important thing here, that this X should be very smallest as a token of the class of S1 to Si. And when I'm saying the smallest, it doesn't mean the smallest number, it means it's smallest in order here. Like I gave you an example. Suppose in this sequence, the specification of the identifier is coming first, followed by a keyword. So I should give the preference to the identifiers first. Fine. So smallest here in terms of order here. Let's suppose in my language specification, keywords will come later, first identifiers. So what will happen in this scenario? Every keyword is going to be recognized as an identifier. Fine, because I have given the higher precedence to the identifier. And if I'll give the just opposite to it, that keywords will come first and then identifiers. So what I'll do, I'll keep on reading the characters and I'll perform a match with the existing keywords and I'll say it is a keyword because I'm not going to call it as an identifier. Let's suppose the example which we have seen earlier also. If this is the example, and suppose in my language specification, this is a keyword. So I'll say, okay, this is then the word boundary, and because I have given the higher order to the keyword, so I'll tokenize it as a keyword and this as an identifier if something is not, I can consume afterwards here. And as a part of last step, once I did this, so I need to discard the tokenized input from the input stream, and I need to redirect myself to the step 3. So here, one must understand that we deviate from the language specification and we handle the issue of the tokenization in terms of precedence order at the level of the implementation. Fine, guys, any suggestion, any comment up to this point? I'm ready to take. Any doubt up to this point? Fine. So this is the one general scenario. I mean, if you have the regular definition and if you want to go for the implementing the lexical analyzer, so this is one of the way that we can define some well-defined precedence order, and we are handling this issue of the tokenization like this. Fine. Let us try to summarize now what we have discussed here. So the procedure, which you are developing for implementation of the lexical analyzer, that should give the preference to the tokens which are specified earlier using the regular expressions. And that makes sense. Like I gave you an example. And if suppose, again, for an example, if we have these two streams here, if S1 to Si belongs to LR, and similarly, there is one S1 to Sj, which is also belongs to SR. So how will we handle this process? Come on, guys, this is my question to you. If this input stream, which is starting from the S1 to Si, it is also belonging to one of the regular definition. And again, if I am starting my input stream from the same end and it is finishing at some other character, and it is also belonging to one of the regular expression. So what should I do in that case? Come on, guys, this thing we have already discussed.
Sir, we need to look
maximal match principle. So here we have to select the longest string in the LR, and according to the the principle of the longest match, we'll accept it as a token here. So there are two things. One is precedence order, and the another is maximal match. And the lexical analyzer says, if you want to implement, lexical analyzer myself, then you need to give not only to me the language specification, you need to define certain precedence order followed by certain rules of the maximal merge. And right now we are not discussing how to implement the maximal merge. Obviously, this maximal merge principle needs to be handled at the implementation level. Language specification says I don't have any information with respect to the maximal merge. I don't have any information with respect to the tokenization here. Fine, guys, everything making sense? Any comment up to this point again? Fine. So again, just as a part of summarization. So if this is the input stream I have, so different language specifications corresponding to their different implementation will tokenize this guy as differently. Just look at this thing. So one lexical analyzer will probably tokenize it like this, and the another lexical analyzer will tokenize like this. Fine. So in this lexical analyzer specification, we are assuming that the keywords have been given higher priority, and that's why we find that this is my word boundary and this is a token, that is a keyword followed by an identifier. But in this case, probably the specifications are different. So specifications are saying that always go for the longest match, and the keywords have been given the identifiers had been given the higher priority here. So that is, they are identifying the word boundary. I'm so sorry. They are identifying the word boundary here. So different language have their different language specifications, and they have to handle the issues of the tokenization at the implementation level. And as I said, as a part of summarization point, so we have to, the token needs to be prioritized in certain order for resolving the conflicts here. So when I reached here, so I just need to look at the priority order, right? That am I giving preference to keywords higher or identifiers higher? So any sort of, these conflicts or ties, so these ties or conflicts are going to be resolved by making certain precedence order. So as of now, if you have realized that the lexical analyzer is a combination of three things. The first one is the language specifications written in the form of, simple layman or regular expression or regular definition. But apart from this, I need the longest match principle. I need certain priority order in my language specification. So that needs to be handled at the implementation level. So, as I said, it is going to consist three things. So one is regular definitions, another one is the precedence rules, and this is the longest match principle, that is the maximal merge. So these two guys, these two guys needs to be handled at the implementation level. I mean, this is not the issue of the specification. So language specification has to deviate from, I mean, this point here and go for, I mean, handling these issues at the development level here. So this is one way if we'll implement that lexical analyzer. There are some other ways also. I mean, if we focus on some of the manual implementations through C code, I mean, a handwritten thing here. Fine, guys, everything is fine up to this point. Any suggestions, any questions up to this point? I'm ready to take.
So what if
Yeah.
the precedence rules and the maximal munch principle conflict with each other? Means for a less number of characters, we are getting a categorization according to higher priority. While if we go for maximal munch, then we may be getting that particular string for a lower priority category.
Can you give me some example where these two can collide? I mean, probably you have explained, but I did not understand exactly what you are saying.
Okay, sir, in case of even if in the if only, which we were having
All right.
if equal to
I
0.
double F. Okay.
Yeah, so in case our language specification is such that we are given more priority towards the what I can say, the
Keywords.
keywords.
All right. So
So in
keywords
that
will
case,
come first and then
yeah,
identify.
going by that, we can have if as separate keyword key thing and then f equal to 0. But at the same time, in case we are also following maximal munch, then IFF would be the one categorized. So over here, there's a sort of conflict.
No, it is not a conflict. I think you have misunderstood these things. Let me clear this thing. So, precedence rules will always come into picture whenever there is a tie. But maximal munch principle is standalone. So since you yourself said that in your language specification, the keywords will come first, correct? So here, when I have read this, I mean, my lexical analyzer has read this character I, so it will keep on consuming the rest of the characters here. Fine. Now, as soon as it has read this much, he will immediately perform a match. He will immediately perform a lookup operation in the symbol table. Fine. So if it is matching with any of the existing reserved words, then obviously, even if my lexical analyzer is expecting certain more thing, I mean, certain more characters, he'll say, I don't think so. I have to read that because since my language specification is giving higher priority to the keywords, so I have find some subset of the characters which is conforming to the reserved word. So let me tokenize this separately. So here, the precedence rules come into picture along with the lookup operation here. Because there is no any other keyword which exactly assuming that in my language specification, this is not a keyword. And if this is a keyword, then I'll go for the longest match till here. And then I'll say, obviously, I have to give it as a reserved word here. Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. So these are not going to conflict. Let's be clear on it.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, like while scanning, how will we come to know till what point should we scan? Because while scanning the character stream, how will we come to know till what point should we scan? Because if we are getting a longer token, so we take up that. So
I understood your question. So while scanning, so the efficient goal should be that each and every character should be read once. As soon as I have read a character, I mean, your lookup operation should be invoked each and every time. Fine. So I is not matching with any of the keywords in my language, in my symbol table, that array of records. So I'll go further. Fine. So if is recognized as a keyword. So every single time I am reading something, so I have to perform a lookup operation. So this is one way that I should make certain calls here and I should come to a certain decision. Number one. Number two, then I have to also worried about these two principles, which principle I should follow. So first, if there is some precedence order, then I have to look first that, and obviously, otherwise the longest match principle. Again, my question to you, did I answer your question? I mean, if this was so.
Sir, like I was asking, like when will we have to stop? Like because our rule says that the maximum month says that we have to take the longest token possible. So
Right.
when
So
we stop?
again, if I have understood your question, so I'll keep on consuming the characters, and when will I stop? I'll stop here. So I means lexical analyzer say, okay, this is another class of the token. Obviously, I can't consume this. So this is my word boundary now.
Okay, sir, got it.
So
Thank you.
another class of the token, because right now I'm reading the same class of the characters. So that makes sense to keep consuming it. But as soon as I hit another class of the token, so lexical analyzer say I cannot consume the assignment operator, right? I have to make a certain decision. And my decision is this is word boundary. Now, did I answer your question this time?
Yes, sir.
Fine.
Thank you.
Excuse me, sir.
Any more comments? Yes, please.
So this doubt is regarding the first answer you have given. So, sir, in that if equal to 0, isn't it more sensible, like if I follow longest match principle always, and whenever there is a conflict, I will go for precedence rules.
Right.
So,
Yes, this is the default principle. Yeah, which you said.
so sir, by then, in that case, it will be ID, right? It will be characterized
Yes.
as ID.
So here, what you are saying, in order to make this guy as an identifier, so let us now we have to intentionally make our language specification at this point of time. If I need to answer your question, so question here is that always go for the longest match. Fine, and that is the thing here, which is happening here. And obviously, this is not a keyword, so I'll tokenize it as an identifier.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. All right. I think we have to move forward now. So, guys, whatever we have discussed up to this point, that is an automated way of implementing the lexical analyzer given the regular definition. Now, from here onwards, we'll look some another technique of manual implementation of the lexical analyzer. Right. So, I mean, manual implementation means, I mean, using the handwritten code. We don't have, we just have the specification. So whatever we are discussing, these longest match principle and so on and so forth, that I have to implement this. Because right now we haven't discussed yet how to go for this, how to implement the longest match principle, the maximal match. We just know that this is the technique. Fine, let's focus here. So again, specification part, we have understood the things, and we also understood the principles of the implementation. Now something we have to focus explicitly on the recognition of the tokens, and recognition of the tokens is always going to be done through the implementation part. And as I said, we are going to do some manual implementation now. Fine. So regular expressions are very popular for the specification of the tokens, and we agreed on this point. And here we need this guy, that is the transition diagrams, which we have studied long time back in TOC. Now, these transition diagrams would facilitate us in implementing the lexical analyzer in a manual way. So transition diagrams are used to implement the regular definitions, the specifications, and to recognize the tokens. Fine. So they are just a way here. We are not exactly constructing some DFA. We are actually doing the manual implementation. So like this, we have to thought. We have to thought of this process here. So let's recall what exactly we have studied earlier about this. So transition diagrams, the DFA part, it's a way of manually implementation of the tokenization, as I said. And hence, regular definitions, these are just declarative specification, and finite automaton is a systematic and efficient way of implementation here. And that way we are going to discuss right now. So pictorial notations, I hope all of you are familiar with it. So this is going to be your one state. This is going to be your concentric circles in the form of an accept state. This is going to be your transition. So transition from one state to another could be labeled with the input alphabet symbol, or it could be any symbol of the regular definition as well. That we have to clear right now. because we have already given the unique names to the so-called our regular expressions here. Recall long time back, sometime we have seen the generalized DFA part and NFA part. So that we are going to discuss right now. So implementation of lexical analyzer through the transition diagrams, the manual implementation of the lexical analyzer. Consider that we have a language specification in the form of a regular definition as follows here. Yeah, so this is our one of the specification for an identifier, assuming that, we saw last time. So this is our regular expression for the letter symbols, and we have assigned a unique name letter. Similarly, we have written one regular expression for the digits, and this is the unique name which we have assigned to the digit. And finally, we have written the regular expression for an identifier using these unique names and this closure symbol. And this is our union sign here. Fine. So now from here onwards, now remember one thing, whenever I need to design or read an identifier, so I will always label my transitions with this unique name. My job is fulfilled, right? This exactly we need to understand. So this is the language specification given to us, a small language specification. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to manually implement the lexical analyzer through the transition diagram notations. Yeah, so I have to design one small lexical analyzer that should return me a pair, that is the token, and the corresponding attribute, that is the lexeme, to the respective fields. That is my goal here, manually. Fine. So how we should perform it through the transition diagrams here. So see, it's very simple. Let's say I'll start consuming certain symbols from my input stream, and I just came to the one initial state. Let me call it as a state 0. Fine. So I'll say, as per my specification, I have to consume first the letter symbol. So I did not write anything with respect to those regular expressions. So I have labeled my transitions with this letter symbol here. Fine. And I redirected myself to the state 0 to the state 1 here. And as per the specifications, if you see, after that, there could be any letter, any number of letters or digits. Fine. So I'll say that any number of letters like this, or I'll use some another transition on this digit here. Now let me clear a few things here, guys. We are not studying here TOC, first of all. So don't think that I'm designing the DFA. I'm doing the manual implementation. So how I said that I'm state 0, and in state 0, I have performed one operation, one action, that I have read a letter. And on the state 1, I can read any number of letters, any number of digits in any format. Now my question to you, what should be the next step? Should I call this as a final state and done with my TOC part? What should be my next step? Recall the discussions we did earlier. What is my next step? Come on, guys, I need certain responses. And what I'm asking you is more relevant at this point of time because we already discussed these things.
So should we also incorporate a dead state in case we identify a digit itself at first?
No, so we are assuming by default those dead states because see, as I myself said explicitly, we are not actually designing the DFA part. We are doing the manual implementation. So this is a way of manual implementation. So it will not read that symbol, right? Forget about the dead states here. So every state has some invisible dead states, assume like this. Fine. Now answer my question. What should be my next step? This is my question. Because my goal is to return the token, right?
Check for keywords.
Oh, but I'm too far from this particular decision right now. I need certain answers from your side.
Sir, read a word boundary and go to the final state.
Right. So to be more precise, my goal is to identify the word boundary. And how will I identify the word boundary? Suppose this is the thing which we have done up till this point. I'll say, I mean, like one of the guy just said recently this question to me, how will I stop consuming the symbol? So I'll say, if I hit any other thing which is not matching with the specifications of the identifier, that means another class of the operator, then I'll say that throw that extra character back to the input stream and just return the corresponding token and this thing with the corresponding lexeme to the syntax analyzer. So I'll say I'll do one more transition, fine, and I'll label that transition with some other symbols. Sorry, I'm so sorry. With the others, this keyword here. And definition of this other is sigma minus this letter or digit here. So any symbol apart from this letter or digit. That is making sense? Fine. And now I have redirected myself to any other state, let's say 2, and this is going to be my final state, the accept state. Fine. And here I should say that, I mean, what should be my next step here? Again, the question to you people. What should be my next step? Come on, guys, be interactive in this session. We have already discussed.
Sir, return the last other character that has been read back to the input stream and return the token.
I'll say that I'll return the corresponding, let's say, the token, right? And let's assume we have just read an if as an identifier. So I'll say this is an identifier, and I just need to also return the corresponding lexeme, right? But for that, I just need to perform a lookup operation in the symbol table. And if this identifier is already existing, then I will not insert it. I'll simply return a pointer to the symbol table. So what should be my next parameter? I'll say that the pointer to that symbol table entry, right? I mean, pointer to lexeme, let's say I'm writing like this. So this is the information I need to return. And next step again is that whatever I have consumed extra, at least one character, I need to throw back to the input stream, right? So I'll say that I'll put a mark here like this, which indicates this state as a retracting state. Let me write here. So this symbol is indicating, so I'm so sorry. This symbol is indicating that I am a retracting state. I'm a retracting state, and I have to throw back the extra character other, which is apart from the letter or digit, back to the input stream. And this whole process is nothing but a manual way of implementation of the lexical analyzer for the specification of the identifier. So I did not specify anywhere DFA. We have constructed the DFA. This is just a manual way of implementation. Fine, guys, any comment, any question up to this point? So this is what exactly we have seen. So this was the specification for an identifier. This is my manual way of implementation through the transition diagram. And this thing indicates the retraction state. So definition of other is very important. So it is that symbol except the letter or the digit. It could be any other symbol. It could be any relational operator. It could be any other special operator. Doesn't matter to me. But it should not be letter or digit. And finally, I need to return the token ID. I mean, it is an ident. So it depends on the language specification. Suppose they mention the token for identifier as ID and the pointer to the symbol table, because I need to check the corresponding lexeme, that entry inside the table. Fine, guys. Any question, any comment up to this point? Yes, please.
Are we not showing the lookup operation in this manual implementation?
We did the lookup operation. I mean, this is the thing here. So for lookup operation, you just need to implement the hash table, right? As an efficient way of implementation.
Yes.
So this much we can do right now. So we will say for the lookup operation, we have already implemented the hash table because that is going to return me the entries in an efficient way, and that will fulfill my purpose. Did I
Okay.
answer your question?
Yes.
Fine. So right now, up to this point, we are assuming that we are performing a linear lookup, but better way is always construct the hash table. I always implement the hash table for such things. Any other question, guys?
So, is it an implementation where identifier has a higher priority compared to keywords?
Yeah, I mean, you can, I mean, if you recall that we have a one language, Pascal, right? I mean, long time back in Pascal, I mean, now it is not that case. They did exactly the same thing. But as per the programmer expectation, they modified their specifications. Right. So it happens. Even we can do anything. Even we can say my identifier should not look like this. My identifier should start with any hash symbol, and after that there should be letter or any number of letters or digits and all. So it's up to us that we can do anything corresponding to our notions. But since you asked me, so Pascal long time back, as per my knowledge, corresponding to the recent state of art, I saw such specifications.
Oh, okay, so got it.
Any other comment, any other question, guys, up to this point? Because now we are going to see how exactly now we need to put this in the form of certain C code here. So let us look into this. So let's first finalize, summarize this thing. So transitions this time are going to be labeled with a symbol, group of symbols, or some regular definitions, like we did here. I mean, this is one example. So here, it's not a symbol. This is a unique name which we have given to the in the form of a regular definitions here to avoid the repetitive work here. Fine. And few states would be treated as a retracting state that indicates that the lexeme, which the lexeme does not include that symbol that brought us to the accepting state. And that makes very sense here. If you recall, I mean, whatever the lexeme which it will give you, it will not include that other character. Fine. This is what it indicates the retraction state. So the character which has taken us to the final state, that character should not be a part of the lexeme. And that is the notion of the retracting state. And all states have an action attached to it, which is executed when the state is reached here. So usually such actions normally return a token and the corresponding lexeme. Even this state has an action. So this state has to read a letter. This state has to read any letter, any number of letters or digits in any format. And this also has one thing, that is it needs to perform the retraction, and also it also need to return this particular thing here. And forget about the dead states. I am not doing something, the implementation on the paper, right? So this is a way of manual implementation in C code. So now let's see, I mean, what exactly is one of the implementation of this transition diagram for an identifiers, which we have just seen right now. So, I mean, just a small piece of the code here to just try to visualize this thing. So we have one function, get token, fine, and of type certain structure that is token. And now this is my token here. So, I mean, which I am going to extract. So my token has two parts. One is to extract the token value, and the another is what actually is the lexeme, the value of the string here. Fine, which we'll see subsequently. And this is the character which I am going to rule. So I just enter into an infinite loop. I mean, that means that I'll keep on consuming the input until my complete input stream get exhaust. Fine. And this is my switch case with respect to the state numbers. And I'm going to recognize only keywords and identifier as per the given specification here. So in case 0, I mean in state 0, I'll read the next character and I'll save it in C, and I'll just identify corresponding to this. If it is a letter, then I'll redirect myself to the state 1. Otherwise, I'll simply call it as a failure. Fine. So failure means here I'll redirect myself to first again the initial state, and I'll come out of this by executing the breaking point here. Fine. Similarly, on the state 1, I'll again read the next character. If it is a letter or a digit, then I'll remain at the state 1. Otherwise, I'll go to the state 2 because I have probably consumed something which is not a letter or not a digit here. And again, I'll break this. And in the state 2, I'll retract by one input symbol, that I'll push back this extra character back to the input stream. And now I'll invoke the function that is search the token in my array of records and in my symbol table, in my hash table. Fine. So if it is an identifier or a keyword, so that will be clear by this particular thing, that is my token.token. So if it is a keyword, then my job is very easy. I don't have to return the lexemes and all. But if it is an identifier, fine, if my token.token is an identifier, then I have to extract the corresponding lexeme value. So for that, this is my function, get ID of that particular string, and I'll store it in my value path, which I set to you here. And finally, I'll return my token if it is a keyword. So this is just one way of manual implementation, given the regular definitions as the specifications, and we just did this through manual implementation with the help of this transition diagrams. Again, guys, any comment up to this point? Anything which you want to discuss?
Sir, could you please once again explain what is the search token function and the get ID string function?
Correct. So search token is that as soon as now I have read everything. So search token will simply invoke some sort of this lookup operation, right? I have just renamed it to the search token. So what exactly lookup operation says, it will identify whether it is a keyword or not. That's exactly what it says. And once it has identified it is keyword or not, then it will simply store that token here. And after that, if it is not a keyword, then I have to check whether it is an identifier. Fine, because I have to deal identifier separately as contrast to the keywords. Then this is one function which will actually give me the value of that particular thing, what I have actually consumed up to this point. The sequence of the characters. Fine. Or the other implementation aspect is I could have returned the pointer where that string has to be stored in my symbol table, or it is already stored in the symbol table, because I have to also make sure that my entries of the lexemes should not be redundant. And finally, this is stored in the value, and finally, I am returning my token. Is it fine now?
Okay, sir.
Fine. Any other thing, guys? So this is one way of manual implementation here, which is very efficient and popular. Now let's proceed. And let's see some more transition diagrams for some other specifications, which you will find in most of the recent literature here. Relational operators. Suppose if I have the relational operators, let's say greater than and greater than equal to, and I have just given them a unique name, relop. Fine. How should I go for this particular transition diagram? So see, both the prefixes are same. Fine. So doesn't matter what comes next. Always I'll say that I'll start from this state, let's say 0, and I'll always read this greater than operator. Fine. So what should I do next now? Come on, guys, what should I do next? No clear answers from your side. Please, guys, be responsive here. Yeah, what should be my next step?
Either take equal to or go to final state.
Or go to final state. So let me call that I have taken equal to, fine. And I'll say this is taking me to, let's say, state 2. And assuming that I don't have any other specifications with respect to this forward equal to. So I'll say, do I need to consume extra characters then?
No, sir.
No, fine, because I'm assuming that there is no extra other thing from this greater than equal to. So I'll say this is my final state, and I'll simply return. That is the token name. Any token name. Let's say, let me call it a relog. If suppose language specification is saying, and the lexeme value is greater than equal. What should I do in this case? Because it is going to conflict with this. Fine. In my language specification, I have equal to. So what should I do? Come on, guys. What should I do?
Read a character other than equal to.
Right. Read a character other than equal to. That's very absolute correct here. So I'll say that this thing, now I have to say this is my another final state. And here I'll also have to retract by one input symbol at least. And I'll say now I am returning. The token name is relog and its actual lexeme is this here. And the definition of others is, which this guy has absolutely defined correctly, that this definition of other is sigma minus equal to sign here. So any other character apart from this equal to sign. Because in my language specification, I have the equal to, so I do not know. So that's why I have taken others and I did the retraction, I did the return this. But here, I do not feel so because I'm assuming there is nothing which is coinciding in my language specification. And this is the corresponding thing in front of you. Fine, guys, any comment again, anything which you want to discuss? And subsequently, I can rewrite the C code for it. Just like we did earlier using those switch cases. So we'll stop here and we'll take this discussion to the next level of the implementation with respect to few more complex specifications. And we'll see what exactly, how we should do the implementation part. And once that is over, then we'll also discuss what exactly are the more issues that we need to handle with respect to the priority order and the maximal pinch principle handle. Because those principles which we have discussed earlier, that needs to get applied here as well. Fine, the priority order. The priority we did not see right now, right? So I'm stopping here, guys. If you have any question, I'm ready to take. Please let me know.
So can we construct this diagram in a different way? Like we can make the 2 as the final state, not 3. And
So here also we have 2 final states.
Yes, sir. No, in a different way. We need not have
the
3 as
transition
final.
should be different.
Yes, sir.
So you just tell me, I'll do that. The needful here right now.
It remains the same, but 3 will not be a transition final state, and there will be another other from 3 to 2.
Just a second. I'll just keep it in full screen mode. Yeah, can you just repeat the same thing? What exactly I need to do here?
So remove the 3 as final state.
All right. So completely remove the state.
No, sir. Just don't. We will not call it as final state.
All right. This is what you are saying. It's just a state. I don't know why it is not working. Anyways, then next.
Sir. And there will be
only.
Another.
Okay.
No, there will be other from 3 to 2.
3 to 2. Okay. 3 to 2, we have one transition.
This is other A something.
This is again others. Fine.
Yes, sir. But this definition of others is anything in sigma.
Anything apart from equal to.
No, even equal to is fine. Anything in sigma.
So what is the definition of this others? Can you repeat one more time?
Sir, sigma. Sigma.
Only sigma.
I mean anything in sigma, like any character, sir.
All right. So this is what you are saying. So greater than other will do the needful here. So, and this is something. Then are you saying these two others are same again? Because this
Then
other has to be something which is except equal to, right? But this is, you are saying that this is anything, even equal to can come also.
yes, sir.
So is this not conflicting again? Because then I have to maintain the different specifications of the others.
Yes, sir.
So greater than and other, so that is fine. So this definition of other is that it should not, it is sigma minus equal to, right? This equal to what, but you are saying this can be equivalent to sigma. This is what you are saying?
Yes, sir.
Hello. So we, in that case, now we have to maintain the different definitions of these other symbols. So that you have to verify then. So let's be generalized and let's handle this thing like this. Otherwise, if these definitions are same, then you can do these transitions. Right?
Fine, sir. Thank you. Yes.
Okay. Any other guys, any question apart from it? Otherwise, then we can stop then.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I have a small doubt regarding our discussion on if equal to 0 with respect to the
All right.
maximal much and precedence. Sir, so if we follow the maximal munch principle, we'll consume IFF first and classify it as an identifier, right? Because it's not a keyword. But what if we want to want IF as a keyword first? We classified it as a keyword instead of IFF as an identifier.
So you want that I single F should be tokenized as a separate keyword. This is what
Yes.
exactly you want?
Yes, yes.
So in that case, the language specification and the implementation rules should be like this. First of all, the if should be a reserved word in your hash table, that is symbol table, number one. Number two, that you must have defined somewhere priority at the level of implementation. And
Sir,
in the priority,
sir,
yes.
but in this case, we are not essentially following the principle of maximal munch, right? Because we are not consuming
Fine,
the whole.
I'm not also following that principle of maximal munch right
Okay,
now.
okay.
So
Then,
I'll
okay.
say that if as soon as I read two characters, I'll perform a lookup operation, and if it is returning me something that it is already present as a result, but I'll say, and I'll not immediately say it is a keyword. I'll also look at the precedence order, and then I'll say it is a keyword. Otherwise, if in my precedence order the keywords are coming later, identifiers are coming first, then I'll say I'll invoke the principle of maximal munch. That means I'll consume as long as I can consume, but I cannot consume this symbol because this is another class of the operator. So I'll say this is my word boundary, and this should be recognized as a identifier. Relevance?
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Fine. Fine, guys. Any other thing? Otherwise, then we can stop them. Okay, guys, then I'm stopping here.